Welcome back to the course. This is lesson number 2, and in this lesson we're going to learn how to create the project in Microsoft Visual C++, how to create a window, and how to actually create a game loop. This is a very important lesson, and in this first video we're going to create the project. So open up Microsoft Visual C++, and you'll see that we already have a recent project. We don't need that, so let's just create a new project and make sure that it's an empty project. We're going to name our project game. Keep in mind that the project is made in your documents folder in Visual Studio 2010 projects folder. So empty project, and we'll call it game. Let's click on OK, and now we get a really empty project with nothing in it. We have no header files, no resource files, and no source files. Now there are many things we have to prepare before we actually begin development. So we'll take this step by step because it's really important, because if we forget something, then our game won't work. So let's right click on the game, and there we click on properties. Now there are two modes when we're creating our application. There's the debug and the released configuration. When we're actually working on developing the game and testing for bugs and developing new features, we're usually in the debug mode. And when we release the game to the public, we go into the release mode. But we're going to both configuration have some things in common. So we can do all configurations and set up a few things here, so we won't have to do a separate configuration for debug and for release. So go all configurations, and there under configuration properties you're going to find a VC++ directories menu, and on the right you're going to see there are executable directories, include directories, reference directories, library directories, and things like that. Now you may already seen the include directories. When we downloaded SFML, there was a directory named include, and what we have to do is point our project to where that folder is. So we have include directories, and then it already has something already written in it, but there's a small down arrow at the right of the include directories. So if we click that, a menu will pop up and we can click edit, and a small window like this was going to open, and in here we have to show it where the include directory of SFML is. So again, we just click on the empty space in the white box, and then we get a button like this with 3 dots. Click on it. Again, a new window will pop up, and now we have to show it where the include directory is. And we agreed that we're going to have SFML on our C drive. So let's go and see the SFML folder and the include folder. So select that folder so that you'll see there's another folder in it called SFML. Just leave it like that and select folder. So now here it should say C SFML include, and we're done with this. So click on OK. Now we have to do the same with library directories, and we need to point to the lib folder of SFML. So again, down arrow, edit. Here we click inside the small button. Again, search for C drive, SFML, and the lib folder, and select the folder. So now it says C SFML lib, and we click on OK. And that's the configuration for the project, so that it knows where it can find SFML. Now I have to switch back to the debug configuration, because we'll be using the debug configuration as we develop the game. So go on top on the configuration and choose the debug one. It will ask you if you want to save the changes, and yes, we do. We're still in the VC++ directories menu, and as you can see, it already knows where the include and library directories are, because we already set that in all configurations. Now we have shown the project where the SFML library is located, but we actually haven't told it to actually use it. In order to do that, we go into linker and input, and then there you'll see additional dependencies. And click on the down arrow and edit. A window will pop up, and here we have to write all the names of all the libraries we're going to use. So let me just zoom in here. You'll probably see 2 mouses, but that's not a problem. And the names of the libraries are SFML. Every SFML library starts with SFML, then a dash, graphics, dash d dot lib. And as you can see, there's a dash d here, and that is because we are in the debug configuration. When we're going to do this for the release configuration, we're going to leave out the dash d. So that's the first library. The next one is SFML dash window dash d dot lib, and the last one is SFML dash system dash d dot lib. So these are the first 3 libraries we're going to need. When we're going to add sound, we're going to have to add another one, but we don't need that for now, so these 3 are enough. So click on OK. Now I have to do the same for the release configuration. So up here shows the release configuration. Yes, we want to save the changes, and do the same for additional dependencies. Do the down and edit, and again we have to write the 3 libraries. So it's SFML. Make sure they are lower characters, no upper, so don't do capital SFML. Everything is low characters. So SFML graphics dot lib. So there's no dash d in here. Then we have SFML dash window dot lib and SFML dash system dot lib. Make sure every library is in its own line. So that's for the release configuration, and let's click OK. And with this, we have everything prepared to start developing our game. So we had to set where SFML library is located in the VC++ directories, and we also had to tell the linker in the linker input settings to actually use those libraries. So now if you click apply and OK, up here at the green arrow, switch to debug. So we want to be in the debug mode when developing the application. And this is everything done in the Visual C++ software, but we have to do one additional thing. If you remember when we were trying the examples and ran the Pong example, we had to copy some DLL files, and we have to do the same here. So go to your computer to where SFML is installed. So we put it in C drive SFML, and then there's the bin folder, and in here you can see all the DLL files. There are 2 of each. There's an SFML window -d -2. 2 stands for SFML version 2, so don't worry about that. But there's 2 files for each. There's a window -2 and a window -d.2. So this with the -d is for the debug configuration, and then the other one is for the release configuration. As we're going to need both of them, we'll just go go and copy both of them. So we need the SFML window, both of them, the SFML system, and the SFML graphics. So that's 6 DLL files we're going to need. As you can see, there's also the SFML for audio, but we don't need that yet. So let's choose the system, graphics, and window DLLs and copy them. And we have to paste them where our project is located. And that's in our documents folder, Visual Studio 2010, project folder, and we named our project game. So there's a game folder, and in there there's another folder named game and 2 other files which we should not care about for now. But let's go again in the game folder. You will have 3 files with a game suffix. So a game, a VC++ project file, and a VCX Pro. It doesn't really matter. We paste all the DLLs here. So let's recap that. You go into your documents folder, Visual Studio 2010, projects, game, game again, and then in here you paste your DLL files. So there are 3 already existing files and 6 of your DLL files. And that's how we set up a project in Visual Studios. In the next video we're going to start actually creating the window, and then we'll start developing the game.